Hey guys, welcome to Game Back. Today, bringing out a video for our weapon blueprint series, and today we're going to cover in the operator bundle as well as weapon blueprints for the Alex Death Stalker operator bundle. So this was available back in season 4 or 5. We'll look at that when we get into the bundle itself. But again, this Death Stalker bundle just came back up in my shop, so I'm really enjoying seeing a lot of these older bundles that I wasn't able to get my hands on back when they came out. Enjoying seeing them coming back in shop here. So what we have with this bundle is the SIDEWINDER skin for Alex. We also have an assault rifle blueprint for the Grau 55, or the Grau in the game, as well as in real life it's called the SIG 552. We also have the heavy silence handgun for the M19. We have the Desert Sands watch, Like a Light operator equip, Scorpion King charm, Sting in the Tail calling card, and the Dune Demon emblem. So all this available in shop for 1,800 COD points. Again, if you didn't get your hands on it, it might be back in shop. It just really depends on the rotation. But let's go ahead and we will back out and take a look at the bundle here overall. So here you see the final design for the assault rifle blueprint for the Grau 556. This is the Envenom, I believe it's pronounced here. So let's go ahead and back out. First, let's take a look at the Alex skin, the SIDEWINDER. So if I go ahead and select Alex here, and we'll do a zoom up, we have the weapon selected for him so you can see. Unfortunately, yep, the pistol is there in the holster, which is good. So you can see the operator skin here is really, really nice. I'm not sure. The plate carrier there is awesome. It looks, I can't really tell by looking at it here. It looks like a 511 Tech, I want to say. I could be incorrect. I mean, it's a little bit hard to see all the detail because he's got a pretty kitted out rig here. I want to say it's a Tech, but I could be wrong for the plate carrier. You can see he's got his little backpack there on the back. He's got what looks like a stun or maybe even a 9-bang there on the top right. Different, either those are going to be stim shots or probably different lights that you would crack there to illuminate. Hard to tell. Again, it looks like probably lights because they have the hooks for hanging instead of different stimulation shots. We have all the magazines there on the front, if I can get an angle here, around the weapon. It looks like he's probably M16, M4 type magazines there with his pistol magazines as well on the front. He's got the radio there on the front left, as well as you can see the radio antenna there on the back with electrical tape, hooks, different things like that. Really tactical looking pants. He's got his makeshift leg there since he did lose a leg, which is now canon in campaign. And again, you can see the pistol holster, tactical looking pants. I really do like the prosthetic leg there. Looks really, really, really good. And again, you can see the heavy armor there on the shoulders as well as the thorax. So he's got thorax armor, shoulder armor, as well as the plate carrier there. Really good looking operator skin. I'm really kind of disappointed I missed this the first time around, but you can see there, this is actually an awesome looking operator skin. So really good to get my hands on this finally. 1,800 COD points, definitely a deal. I'm not sure what it was when it originally came out, but I feel like at the time it was probably more than 1,800. So maybe I got this on discount. I had to go back on COD Tracker and see. But let's get into the weapon blueprints. So here we have the Envenom for the Grau 556 or the SIG 552 as it's known in real life. So looking at this blueprint, let's go ahead and we will strip it down to base. And you can see the blueprint here at base. We have some pretty big differences versus the base Grau 556, which we will take a look at. So for the muzzle, we're going to go ahead and want the tactical suppressor. Sound suppression is going to be the pro. The con is going to be the aim down sight speed and the aim walking steadiness. So again, you can see the default versus the one here for the blueprint. Slight differences, nothing major, just a little bit different of a color tone. We're going to go ahead and leave the base barrel for this. And then for the laser, we're going to go ahead and put on the tactical laser there for the ADS speed, aim and stability, and the aim walking steadiness. The cons here being the laser will be visible to the enemies when you're ADSing. And then you can see default versus the blueprint. Again, no major differences cosmetically there. There's just slight different color tone on the attachment. Now for the optic, we're going to go ahead and want the Cronin LP945 Mini Reflex. So this is going to give us the precision sight picture, and the con being the ADS speed. We'll go ahead and select that. Now we'll leave the base stock. You can see there it's a cosmetically changed stock versus the base weapon, which we'll go back and compare. Skip out on the, actually for the perk, it is sleight of hand. So we will want sleight of hand for quick reloads. And then we will want to skip the rear grip as well as the ammunition. For the underbarrel, the blueprint comes with the operator foregrip. So that's going to assist with the recoil control. The con here is going to be the ADS speed. And again, you can see default versus the color tone difference, as well as what looks like the tape there on the operator foregrip. So slight cosmetic changes there for the coloring, and it adds that little bit of tape there as well for the end venom. So we'll select that. That is our final design for the SIG 552 blueprint for the end venom. Really nice looking blueprint. We'll go ahead and compare that again in a second. But let's go ahead and look at the M19 Heavy Silence handgun. So again, major differences cosmetically for the handgun versus the base M19. So if I go ahead and we will strip this thing down to base, and again, you can see right off the bat a lot of cosmetic changes, which we'll look at. So the muzzle, we're going to want the monolithic suppressor. Pros are going to be the sound suppression and the damage at range. Cons are going to be the ADS speed and the aim walking steadiness. And again, you can see default versus the blueprint, right? Completely different type of suppressor on this weapon. We'll go ahead and select that. And one thing you'll notice, it's very worn looking. You've got a little piece of yellow electrical tape on there, which looks pretty cool. And then it's just a very worn looking suppressor. So you can tell the weapon itself has just seen a lot of use, which I really like that look to this blueprint. The barrel will leave at base. For the laser, we're going to go with the tactical laser. Again, you can see how the different options look here. Tac laser for the ADS speed, aim and stability, aim walk and steadiness. The con is the laser will be visible to enemies, same as we covered with the growl. And if we look at the default versus the heavy silence, we do, again, have some pretty significant cosmetic changes. However, it does fall in line with all of the other blueprint cosmetic changes, just a little bit different color tone. But compared to the base, the same cosmetic changes as the other blueprints. So we'll go ahead and select that. For the optic, we're going to want the GI Mini Reflex for precision sight picture. The cons are the ADS speed. Skip out on the perk as well as the rear grip. And for the ammunition, we're going to want that 32 round magazine of the 9x19 Parabellum. So the pros will be the magazine ammo capacity is going to increase, obviously. Cons are the ADS speed and the movement speed. And again, you can see default versus the blueprint. No big changes there. Slight marking differences, but that's about it. So we'll go ahead and select that. And then the trigger action, we're going to want the lightweight trigger for the increased fire rate. The cons are the aiming stability. So you can see the base, or excuse me, that's not the base. So this is, here we go. The base is blue, two-tone, and then heavy silence gives us a completely different new trigger, actually, which is pretty interesting. So we'll select that, and that is our heavy silence blueprint for the M19, which is pretty significant changes here. Again, a very worn, rustic look to it. And again, in real life, this is actually the SIG. It's basically the kind of the SIG bundle here. We have the SIG 552, and then we have the SIG Sauer P320 here with the M19. So we'll go ahead and back out. Now, let's compare these two blueprints quickly before we get into some major changes here. So I'm going to have the blueprints here in the 552 class, and then the base weapons with the same attachments in the M13 class. So just take a look as I swap back and forth. We have for the Grau and the M19 pistol. So here's our blueprints that we're covering today versus the base weapons with the same attachments. So again, we'll take the base attachments versus the weapon blueprint changes, and back to the base weapons with the same attachments. So again, you can see pretty significant differences here, specifically really with both weapons. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. So for the SIG 552 or the Grau, we have a completely different type of handguard here, as well as really the whole upper receiver, as well as the stock is completely different. We have a new, I believe it's a completely different, if we go back and compare one more time, I believe it's a completely different pistol grip. So let's just go ahead and see how this loads. Yeah, so completely different kind of pistol grip. This is a huge cosmetic change to the weapon. You can see the chassis changes, everything there, the upper lower receiver, everything's different, even down to the magazine. So this is actually an awesome blueprint for the Grau. We have a completely different magazine. Everything about this blueprint changes, even a lot of the markings on the upper receiver as well as the lower receiver. Everything's new. We have a new stock and a new handguard on the weapon as well. So really good looking blueprint. Now, how does it look with different attachments? You can see here with the short barrel, you're going to retain all the same blueprint cosmetics because the handguard is black with the blueprint itself. So you're retaining really the same blueprint options. You're not changing anything there with the handguard. If we go ahead and look at the stock option, obviously you're changing up the stock entirely, so it's going to look different. So that's not a surprise. And then with the rear grip, if we go ahead and look at this, you can see some of these options, obviously they're just completely different pistol grips, so it will change it. Same with the base Grau. And that's really it though. Nothing major there. You're going to retain all of the same blueprint cosmetics by swapping out the attachments. Same with the magazines. Obviously, you're going to get the same magazines that you'll see with the Grau, but again, it doesn't really impact the blueprint, which is good. Now, if we look at the pistol, major changes here again. Besides the color tone difference, we have, you can see what looks like green rubber bands on the pistol grip. A lot of grip tape there as well. We have the yellow electrical tape on the suppressor, and then just that overall worn look. And obviously, the suppressor is a completely different type of suppressor. I'm not sure what specific kind that is off the top of my head, but again, you can see the different shape, how it's fixed on there. Everything's different about that. Really good blueprint. These are two really, I guess, pristine examples of what blueprints should be in Call of Duty Modern Warfare. They completely change the cosmetics, overhaul it to look completely different than what you would get with the base weapon, really making the blueprint unique. This kind of takes me back to that original, really quickly, takes me back to that original 725 blueprint that we got by pre-ordering this, that being the hammer. I mean, this is a completely modernized, new-looking blueprint versus the base 725. Looks like a completely different weapon. Great example of a blueprint. So, and again, you see the same suppressor there too that we just covered with the pistol. Completely different changes to the suppressor. So that's our SIG 552. How does it look with the different camouflages? Really quick, we just check that out. You're going to cover the entirety of the weapon. Even the optic itself looks to be covered by the camouflage. So that's a really nice looking option. I'm not sure if it covers everything with the base weapon itself. And then here's the camouflage changes to the pistol. Again, it's very similar. You're not covering the magazine or the very bottom portion of the pistol grip, but everything else is going to be covered by the camouflage. So that is our Grau 556, or yeah, Grau 556 for the Envenom and the M19 for the Heavy Silence. Let's go ahead and we'll jump into the gameplay for this. I'm just using it against bots on Euphrates Bridge. And again, just checking out how they handle. You'll see the weapon in specs. Recoil and everything on these is actually really good. The Grau, it really kind of makes me want to use the Grau again for Warzone. We have different markings on the Grau here. Completely ambidextrous fire controls. It's a ZLR special versus whatever the base one was. But we have a ZLR special on the upper receiver as well as the new handguard. So it's pretty cool. Definitely, I think the original one is going to be a XRK maybe. And then we have different in-game models here. This one being a ZLR. Same with the pistol. I believe it's also a ZLR versus an XRK with this blueprint. So really cool looking blueprints. This is a great example of what I said, what blueprints should be, especially the operator with Alex. A really good steal here in store for 1,800 COD points. I'm not sure what it was originally. Again, you have to check COD Tracker, but great operator bundle. Great weapons here. Probably be trying out some of these in Warzone with some different attachments, but I really do like the way they handle here against bots. We're just playing in realism, so you'll notice if I get shot in the head once, it's all over. Same with the bots, so it makes it a little bit more of an immersive experience, which I do like. So let me know down below what you guys think of this. Did you get your hands on this operator bundle when it first came out way back when, or are you just seeing it now and perhaps it's in your store right now? Let me know if you plan on getting this or if you have already gotten it. If you like the video, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, social media links are down below in the description. I have my Twitch, Instagram, as well as Twitter. Those are the best places to get a hold of me. Any ideas for videos, things like that. I'm usually pretty active on both. Checking my messages a few times a day here and there. And I will get back to everybody regardless. It's just a matter of time. If I don't get back to you right away, don't worry, I will get back to you. So you can go ahead and message me there, reach out. Also, like I said, going back to this is a really good example of what blueprints should be, and it's kind of disappointing, seeing this. I believe it was a season 4, I want to say. I'd have to look again, but season 4 or 5 is when this came out. Just kind of reminds me of kind of the lost potential of what we probably could have had if we had had more Modern Warfare support instead of Cold War, or at least in parallel, meaning at the same time as Cold War being launched and supported. If Infinity Ward maybe had at least a few developers on to continue producing some content for Modern Warfare. Obviously, we have some of that content still to come, being with the Round Machine Gun and the CX-9 or the Scorpion Evo that we know is there. It's just a matter of when it's going to come. But things like with these types of blueprints, it really brings me back to what I've covered a lot in some of these previous videos, is complete cosmetic overhauls for the weapons. Some good examples would be for the Holger 26 or the G36, a cosmetic overhaul to turn it into or make it look like an XM8, which essentially internally is almost the same thing as a G36, just heavy external changes, it's more modular, things like that. That would have been a really cool option they could have done. Also, the AK-47 is a prime example. The base in-game AK-47 in Call of Duty Modern Warfare is an original 1949 production model of the AK-47 with the milled receivers and everything like that. So obviously some blueprints later on were AKMs, but it would have been really cool to see a complete cosmetic change of the weapon to turn it into a more modernized variant of the AK, whether that be a 100 series or an AK-12 or an AK-15. Obviously, they did some attachments and some blueprints that tried to modernize it, but a real full-on cosmetic change to the weapon, a reskin, I guess you could call it, to make it into an AK-12 or an AK-15 would have been a really good option. There's just a lot of examples that they could have done this with. Looking at some of the machine guns, things like that, there's endless opportunities. Instead of adding new weapons, you could have just reskinned a weapon essentially with the blueprint system. So hopefully that's something we'll see going into Modern Warfare 2 next year in 2022. I'm sure they didn't expect all of this functionality to really be, especially with the gunsmith, to be as popular as it is. So I think they probably realize a lot of the opportunities that they have, and given that they now have 2 years plus probably a little bit more, I'm sure they've been working on Modern Warfare 2 to get all that out there, and they have their bearings now with the content. I'm sure we can expect a lot of that for Modern Warfare 2. So let me know down below what you guys think. I'll leave you guys with the rest of the gameplay. This is Buffner Gaming with the Alex Skinwalker Bundle Pack. Till next time, this is Buffner Gaming. Out.
Good hunt, guys.